mandala, please.
Sashi Puki Jokshing Metok Tron
Mm.
Rira Bling Shin Yinde Genpati Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Druparsho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kam Niryatayami.
I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened set of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened set of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, I will attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay, let's do some rejoicing. Let's start with Mike.
Well, I'd like to rejoice that I'm on my way to the airport after a successful trip back to the East Coast. Um, and I want to rejoice that I got my storage unit handled. There's going to be a person liquidating my storage unit for me, so I don't have to keep paying monthly for a storage unit when I don't need anything in it. Um, so yeah, I just want to rejoice in progress and my surroundings becoming more uh, as I wish them to be. So
Oh,
thank you.
good. What kind of what percentage does a liquidator get?
Oh my God, that's like highway robbery. It's like they take the first $20 of every sale and then they split 35-65 uh, in your favor.
Oh
So
man,
yeah, but it's
wow.
either that or pay $350 a month for it to sit there and do nothing. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Good luck. Yeah,
thank you.
sometimes you have to bite the bullet, but boy, that's a pretty big chunk. Hmm. Okay, let's see who's next. Let's go with Katerina. You're next. What do you have to rejoice about today?
Hello, dear Sumati. Hello, everyone.
Здравствуй.
Can you help me? А, Я радуюсь тому, что мы отпраздновали
I'm very
вместе
happy
рождение
that we celebrated birthday of my son together
была на ретрите.
because
Вот,
when I was on retreat, he had a
радуюсь,
birthday.
что общалась с
So
родителями,
I'm
получила
happy that
посылка с приветами из Армении.
there is a parcel from my parents from Armenia. I'm very happy about it.
Good. How old's your son?
He's 12, 12 years old.
He's 12. He's
12.
12.
Wow. Wow. How tall is he?
Um,
No. That's how you measure your kid's height, that's for sure. Well, good. I'm glad that worked out. Anna, how about you? What do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, dear Venerable Sumati. Hello, everyone. Thank you for opportunity. About my rejoicing, we have very hot weather now, and I caught myself that maybe at the first time I am not reacting very active, like, oh, it's hot, I need to do something. I don't complain, I don't angry, and I think that it's result of my meditation practice. Because I see that my meditation is better, some months maybe better. So I think that I can manage some my personal afflictions and just go through this. Thank you.
How hot is it? What temperature is it?
35 and more degrees on the sun.
35. Wow. Yeah, that's getting warm. That's about 95 Fahrenheit. Wow. Well, you can use the air conditioning we had in Armenia, which is an oscillating fan. That's not air conditioning, that's a fan. Okay, anyway. Daria, what do you have to rejoice in?
I rejoice. Yesterday I did a satsang twice, and today I was in a big traffic jam, and I was happy. But I tried do Tonglen for other people, and thought, okay, maybe I'm late, but other people it's come on time, and so I'm happy and not nervous. It's this traffic jam.
Oh, good. Yeah, once you get in a traffic jam, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Okay, let's see who's next. Evgeny, where'd he go? Maybe he's not on anymore. How about Olga? Do you have anything to rejoice in?
Не могу что-то переключить. Okay. Well, actually, I'm rejoicing for the opportunity that every day I'm translating, interpreting some lessons, some ACI classes, and I'm very happy for this opportunity that I'm planting the seeds of understanding the wisdom more deeply and connecting people, connecting people with teachings, people with teachers. So for me, it's like the best thing I do in this day. And this is the best for coffee meditation for me. So like this.
Excellent. Yes, you're in a very powerful position for setting your future conditions for understanding the Dharma and getting teachers. That's really, I hadn't thought about that until just now, but I just think interpreters suffer through my speech and realize that that's the least important part of their duty. Most important part is helping spread the Dharma. So well, that's really great. Okay. Lydia, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, dear Lama Sumati. Hello, everyone. I would like to rejoice that there are teachers in my life, and you, dear Lama Sumati, and I also feel connection with Geshe Michael when I'm talking with you, and I imagine how many people behind you and Geshe Michael, and I'm rejoicing about that. Thank you very much, and please stay with us. Please continue to teach us.
Well,
Thank
it's my intention to, and that's all the teaching I do is basically serving Geshe Michael's wishes to spread the Dharma, and he makes it so simple to do. So thank you for pointing that out. I'm glad you feel that. Let's see, who else do I have here? Svetlana, you're up next.
Hello there, Lama Sumati. Hello, everyone. I'd like to rejoice that today we had a birthday of my colleague, and we celebrated it all together. And it was so warm-heartedly and supportive. And I dedicate that everyone can have kind support and friendship in their life on their own personal growth and development on their path.
Good, excellent. Well, I have quite the story to tell. We went shopping, grocery shopping, and my wife lets me do it. She doesn't like to sit or walk around the grocery store if I can do it. So I still am able to do it. It takes a while, but I know where everything is in that particular grocery store we used. So I'm going down the aisle, and I've had several aisles where someone's left a cart blocking the aisle as they go off and get something and come back. Instead of moving what I do is I move my cart off to the side so people can get through. So there was this cart in front of me, and I pushed it out of the way with my cart. I was getting ready to put it back, and this guy, maybe 35, 40 years old, starts swearing at me and gets right in my face and is very threatening. I'm not going to use his language. I moved his cart. How would I feel if someone moved my cart that way? Called me all kinds of names and literally got within a foot of me. He was about my size and clearly very mad. So I said, I'm sorry. And he said, sorry. What do you think? Does that make up for what you did? And I said, I'm sorry. But I established eye contact with him briefly. And then I just stood my ground. If he was going to hit me, he was going to hit me. I didn't try and get the cart in between me and him because I figured that would just make him angrier. So he continued to berate me and then went back to his car and then turned around and came right back again up close to me. And I stood my ground, and I realized as I was standing my ground, I realized my karma was ripening to make him, not he. He wasn't attacking me. It's my karma ripening to make this guy come after me. And it was it had a calming effect on me. I had adrenaline going. I was upset, but I held my ground, and I saw him later in the store and turned around and went the other way because I didn't need another confrontation. But what I'm happy about was I saw this confrontation as not this guy getting mad at me. It was my karma ripening for having treated others inconsequentially. And there it was. I mean, this is a guy who's probably 35 or 40 years old, chewing out a 70-year-old guy with Parkinson's. What kind of studly thing is that? But my wife and I thought maybe what happened was he took his energy out on me, his anger out on me, and not on his wife or children later that day. So maybe I helped release some anger in him. So that's kind of a weird thing to rejoice about, but I just rejoice in my immediate thought of the emptiness of the situation and how to make sure I didn't get this guy more angry at me. That was one of my fears, is he was going to I'd do something to anger him even more, but I didn't. So one concern I have was he was checking out about the same time I was. And one concern I had was he was going to follow us in his car and confront me when I came home. He didn't, but so it's a lesson learned for me. I'm glad I could see the fact it was a purification of my past deeds, not a self-existent him coming after me. So that was really powerful. Okay, so much for rejoicing. I changed my medication a little bit, and I'll find out on Wednesday whether that had an effect on my heart or not. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, let's get on with class. I'm going to share. Am I already sharing? No. Okay, screen 2. Here we go. So we're going to get into the details of Vinaya. We're going to be using Master Neutral Dharmabhadra's 1772-1851. He's also called Quicksilver. It's good to know his dates and his nickname. We're going to use his commentary called Daymaker to the essence of the Ocean of Discipline by Geshe which was his summary, Geshe summary of Vinaya teachings. Where's my cursor? There's my cursor. So the opening line of Geshe commentary is, may all living beings achieve temporary happiness and permanent Buddhahood. So Om is made up of A, U, M, together representing the pure body, speech, and mind of a Buddha in one sound. So whenever you hear Om at the beginning of a mantra, it's essentially a code word for calling all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manopalaya Vajrasattva Dinapala Tita Duda Mewa Sutakaya Mewa Supakaya Mewa Anarata Mewa Sarasiti Me Payasa Sarakama Suts Mehi Bhagavan Vajrasattva Ahum Pat. You're saying Om, you're calling to the Buddhas, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This represents the pure body, speech, and mind of a Buddha in one sound. So there's the pure body, the paradise body, and emanation body. Do any of you recall the 4 bodies of a Buddha? What's the Sanskrit for the paradise body? Nobody?
Sambhogakaya.
Paradise body. That's not what I have. I don't.
Is it Nirmanakaya?
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sambhogakaya. Nirmanakaya is the emanation body. And pure speech, these are emanations that speak the Dharma to you. When you're ready, when you're in a situation where an emanation of a Buddha is required, they come to you immediately, and that's a pure speech aspect. That's the only way a Buddha can help. The only way a Buddha can help us is not, if they could take our karma, we'd all be enlightened beings. They can't, but they can tell us, they can teach us what we need to do to better our situation. And that's, again, something I like. It's not like, I like the fact that a Buddha can't take away my problems, literally, but he or she can teach me what I need to do in order to take away my problems. So it puts the emphasis and the responsibility on me. And I really like that about Buddhism, because then I can say, when I have this confrontation in a supermarket, instead of saying, well, God, that's not very nice, I can say, well, Sumati, you've just ripened a karma from past lives that meant you were rude and accosted, tried to take advantage of somebody. And so it's, again, my response. I like it being my responsibility. And then I can only blame myself. And as Master Shantideva said, and as His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama says often, if there's something you can do about it, do so. If there's nothing you can do about it, why worry about it? So what can I do about somebody accosting me in the supermarket? I can see it as a ripening. That seed's done. I can see that in the future, instead of mistakenly working on ways to have that seed ripen, I can work on ways to not have it ripen. And what I mean by that is this cart was blocking the aisle. I could have backed up and gone into another part of the aisle and gone around him. But I had 3 or 4 times that had blocked aisles for me in the store, and I somewhat belligerently said, well, I'm going through. So my mindset was a little bit aggressive, and then I could have gone around my cart and moved his cart by hand, but I pushed my cart into his cart. So I can see where it would have gotten someone mad, but again, he didn't get mad at me. I had karma ripened for him to be getting mad at me. And I can't emphasize enough how important that is, to keep that in mind. So when your children are misbehaving, if you had kids, they're not misbehaving. It's your karma ripening for in the past misbehaving, and you're projecting them misbehaving back at you. That doesn't mean if it's my fault, they can get away with it. But I think it makes a difference to me on how you're going to react. Because you want to burn that seed off. You don't want to perpetuate it. And it must be hard in the moment with children to keep that in mind. But boy, if you can, that's a really powerful use of your knowledge of Buddhism. Yeah, and same goes with spouse and brothers and sisters and all that. But I sometimes wonder what I would have been like as a parent. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So, what else? Pure speech. And the Buddha's mind, the pure omniscience. And that's the name I haven't seen very often. I don't know how anybody know Sanskrit? Is that Jnana Dharmakaya?
Jnana Dharmakaya.
Yeah, I don't hear that I don't remember. Well, I've heard it before, but I don't use it very much. Anyway, that's the omniscient mind of a Buddha. And when you think, how can somebody know ultimate and deceptive reality simultaneously? And how can, as when you see emptiness directly, you meet everyone in the universe? How is that possible? And when you stop and think of time, well, time is, we've all been in situations where time seems to stand still, and which we think isn't possible, but time is a construct that we have come up with. And so time standing still or going more slowly is, I don't know why, I would think it's not feasible. I've sometimes often wondered what time is like for a dog or a cat or an elephant. Just, they don't have wristwatches. They're not saying, well, it's 12 o'clock, I've got to eat. So how do they see time? That's just something to think about. Okay. So he's opened his book. Now he states the subject, which is so is individual, tar is freedom, gi and dompa. So individual freedom vows is the subject of the book. And we know them by the Sanskrit name of pratimoksha vows. And why does he call them the freedom vows? He says that they're freedom vows because if you follow them, you will reach nirvana. You will find freedom. If you don't follow them, you won't. It's just that simple. So you take the freedom vows that you believe you can uphold, and that's what's going to get you to freedom. Now this is out of sequence. Okay, so then Geshe Michael says this sentence, which is a little bit confusing. Vows of individual freedom are refraining from hurting others and also from the basis of hurting others, and doing so for the reason and motivation of renunciation. So what's he talking about here? Vows of freedom, individual freedom, are refraining from hurting others. Okay, so how do you refrain from hurting others? Well, these are the 10 non-virtues. So killing is the first of the non-virtues of the body. What's the next one? What's the second non-virtue? Anybody?
Stealing.
Yes, thank you. Stealing. And what do we mean by, what's the caveat that Geshe Michael always talks about with stealing? He says, anything of value. Well, what I value and what Lydia values and what Claire values or Katrina or Mike are different things. So I look at it, whenever you have something like this, instead of trying to quantify it, just think anything that we're talking about is of value. So it doesn't matter if Lydia values her refrigerator more than she values her stove or something silly like that. What matters is what it means to her. So likewise to Svetlana. Values, we think of value in terms of dollars or rubles or whatever currency you want. But I think value extends to more than that. How I value something is an ethical question as much as dollars and cents. So something that seems very trivial can be very important. And you have to keep that in mind. So again, when you're thinking of value, stealing something of nothing of value, assume anything that you're coveting is of value. So we'll get there. Okay, what's the third one? Killing, stealing, the third non-virtue of body.
Sexual misconduct, I think.
Right. Sexual misconduct. And this primarily at this level of teaching has to do with adultery. So you're by not committing adultery, you're not hurting your spouse or someone else's spouse. Okay. Then there's speech. What's the first one of speech? First non-virtue of speech.
Not lying.
Not lying, correct. Then device, well, let's go back to lying. So we talked about white lies, and I've been thinking more about this and talking to my lovely wife and others. And most everybody talks about lying and motivation. And that's, I'm still having trouble grasping that because the spoken word is a lie. But if your motivation is not to hurt someone, does that make it okay? And I don't have an answer to that, but most everybody I've talked to about thinks motivation plays an important role. And motivation does play an important role in much of what we do as Buddhists. We always set our motivation before teaching or before a meditation session. So intention or motivation, and it's part of the karmic path. Did you intend to harm this person in particular, or for killing, or for something like that? So be careful not to use motivation as an excuse to lie. I'm trying to think of the last time I had in my mind stopped and I thought, well, that's not the truth. Be careful. Usually it's relatively trivial things. Like, for instance, someone asks how many students were at the Romania teaching, and I don't say 15 because I don't remember. I say about 15, 13, 14, 15, something like that. They ask about the teaching in Romania, and we were told there would be 55 there, and I think 47 came. So again, I say, I think it was around 45, 50. And that's not a lie because I'm giving a range. I'm not telling someone it was 47 when it was really 46. And my intention is to not tell a white lie. So is that trivial? Well, to many people it would be, but that's a karma that I'm setting so that in the future I have accurate information from other people. So it's the little things like that I find myself, that's the most part of lying for me, is rounding up numbers. If you are careful to it makes me careful to give in the instance of the number of students, give a range. Part of the trouble with white lies is that you need to evolve. I mean, it'd be easy for me to say 50 students, because 50 sounds to many people better than 45. I'm not sure what that means, to many people better than 45. I'm just happy to teach. We had a wonderful time with 14 students. We had a wonderful time with 47. If I can get one student to advance in their Dharma practice, then yay for me. Doesn't have to be hundreds. I've only given one lecture in my life to over 100 people, and that was a lot of fun. But when you look out to an audience of 165 people in an auditorium, it can be pretty inspiring to make sure you're doing a good job. And there's a lot of pressure. But so back to a line, the white lie. I'm going to make a note here, and I'm going to see if I can't remember to ask you all. I'd like you to think about the white lie question and see if you can find a white lie, that a situation where you were going to have to make something up, or a white lie. I know I've asked you to do this before, and and I never follow up with it. So, white lie instance. And I have to put this somewhere where I won't forget. I'll put it here at the bottom of my monitor. Okay. So next is divisive talk. How does divisive talk harm people? Well, divisive talk usually means setting people against each other. So they argue and thinking one will win and one will lose. So that's hurting someone by saying something divisive and seeing what their response would be. Divisive talk for me is a constant battle with our current president. I'm constantly having to not say anything, but I have movement of the mind that I don't agree with him. And so I'm setting karmas that way. But I've been able to stop having a conversation with someone, debating whether he's an idiot or not. It's okay to have an opinion. It's when you try and win with your opinion. Usually when you're asked an opinion, the person asking you wants some information that will help them decide, make a decision. So if you can see yourself as providing information instead of the information you have is right or wrong, you're just providing information. If you can do that and not be married to the piece of information, I think you'll find that you'll be asked for more. You'll be asked many more times for help with something. I found that to be true at Diamond Mountain when I got to the point where I realized I just needed to give information instead of trying to win them over. One student asked me if the water pipe I was using was rated for human consumption. The plat wouldn't wouldn't contaminate the water. And my first response in my mind was, no, I didn't think of that. What a great idea. Of course I thought of it. It was insulting that they asked me that. But this is back before I spent more time thinking about it. But I knew that my first response could be sarcasm, or it could be just a simple yes. And I did the simple yes. Because sarcasm is basically, in my mind, divisive talk. I have a brother-in-law who's got a very dry sense of humor, and it's almost sarcastic. I enjoy Bruce's sense of humor. Okay, so that's divisive talk. Harsh words, we've talked about that before, profanity. We've said enough about that. Useless talk. Useless talk is tough, especially in work, for those of you in work situations. You're confronted with useless talk every day, or every work day. And if you shy away from it, you may cause people, well, Sumati's too important to talk with us about sports or something. So you have to be careful not to ignore it, but you don't have to join in a deep. What's a good useless talk for me? Useless talk for me would be discussing the current politics of the United States. And it's useless because until I think of something I can do about it, it's useless to complain. I'm not contributing anything to solving the problem if all I do is complain. So useless talk becomes, complaining becomes useful talk if I follow the complaint with, here's what I do, here's my solution. I don't talk much about the border because I don't have in my mind a simple solution for the border issue in the United States. Until I do, I can't really complain. I don't feel I can complain about it. It's useless talk if all you're doing is complaining. That's basically, to me, useless talk. Okay. Now, this is where it gets interesting to me. He said, along with its basis means the last three non-virtues, which are the basis for the other seven. So if you agree to refrain from the thought processes that make you hurt others. So if I agree to stop thinking about craving, ill will, or wrong views, if I can stop thinking that, then the basis for hurting others, the top seven, goes away. So craving, ill will, ill will is jealousy. Craving is coveting, wanting something somebody else has. I'm trying to think of where I have craving. Coveting. I can pretty clearly say I don't covet anything. Ill will, that's one I have to struggle with politics. I don't think awful thoughts of pretty much anybody I can think of. I don't wish ill to President Trump. I know some people that hope that doesn't last out his term for a variety of reasons. And I don't go there because that's just the worst ill will. Then wrong views, very simple. Not believing in past lives and not believing in karma and emptiness. And now that I know what I know about karma and emptiness, it explains so much of my world. It explained that whole incident yesterday. why would a guy pick on a 70-year-old who's obviously got some health problem? It makes no sense why a 35-45-year-old guy would pick on me. But it makes sense if it's my karma ripening from having done something similar in the past, and now it's ripening, and I need to respond with wisdom, which I believe I did. Okay. So the proper motivation for taking freedom vows is being totally fed up with the suffering of this life. In the past, one would take their freedom vows or become a monk or a nun because it meant freedom from responsibility. It meant you had a safe place to sleep and safe food to eat and safe water to drink at no cost to you. Now, one of there are two motivations to take the pratimoksha vow. One is to take them to help you on your path, and the other is to take them so you can tell people you've taken them. Oh, I took the lifetime layperson vows. Have you? Someone asked you, have you taken the lifetime layperson vows? Of course, say yes if you have. But don't do so in a prideful way. So, Sumati, you wear maroon all the time. Are you a monk? Yes, I happen to be a monk. It's that simple. And the overall motivation is simply because you're tired, you're trying to renunciate this life. Okay, what's next? There are 6 categories that explain the individual freedom vows. The vows' basic structure, what they're made of, where are they, and where do they stay. I must admit, I didn't have any of these thoughts. They're vows, I've taken them. I'm not overly concerned with what they're made of, but we'll get into that. The actual categories, there are 8 actual categories. Then you identify the sets of vows that each of the categories is responsible to, the kind of person who can take and grow the vows, how the vows can be lost, the benefits of keeping the vows. We can expect obstacles. This is not going to be an easy journey, but that's what makes it all the more powerful. So if you haven't taken the lifetime layperson vows because you're afraid you can't keep them, the whole point of taking the lifetime layperson vows is to give you the strength to try to keep them. So, are the vows physical in nature? I must admit that this particular discussion doesn't do much for me. I don't think about whether they're physical in nature or not, but here goes. The detailer school thinks the vows are invisible physical stuff that permeates your body and becomes non-communicating, in that unless someone knows you have the pratimoksha vows, it's not apparent. Communicating karma is obvious. It would be like if you're wearing this, you're a monk, then it's obvious you have the pratimoksha vows. The analogy is that they're like oil in a sesame seed. When you open a sesame seed, you do not find oil, but if you squeeze it, out it comes. Now, I'm not sure why they chose the sesame seed, because sesame seeds are minute. Sunflower seed would make more sense. Okay, whoops. Okay. The sutras, which are slightly higher up in the food chain of the schools, these, by the way, you should recognize these as parts of the 4 schools of thought in ancient India. Sutras say they exist as a continued intention. I shouldn't do that, or that, or that. Mind only says they exist as a mental seed. The independent school says they are a physical conception, the restraining of body, speech, and mind as we conceive of them in our minds. I must admit, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The implication school, the highest view of the four ancient schools, says that while the vows are made of physical conceptualizations, they are just visualizations of colors and shapes existing as an object outside your mind. The vows are a form that is pictured in your mind. So, you can think of the vows as letters on a piece of paper, I guess, and in that sense, they're physical. I just think of the vows in my mind stream and call them to the front of my mind when I need to review them or think about whether I've broken one. So, lastly, there are 8 categories of vows. The one-day vows, these last for 24 hours. You take them before sunrise, and they end the next morning when you can see the lines on your hand. So, that's sunrise. But actually, it's if you think about it, before sunrise, you can see the lines on your hand. Lifetime layman's vows, there are 5. Lifetime laywoman's vows, the same 5. Not killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, not taking intoxicating substances. Then there's a novice monk. I believe there are 35 or 36. And novice nun, intermediate nun, fully ordained nun has 364, and a fully ordained monk has 253. Now, something about the vows that we should consider. So, how did the vows come about? Well, Lord Buddha, from what I understand it, when Lord Buddha began the first Sangha of monks, he noted behavior that was unbecoming of, he felt was unbecoming of a monk or a nun, and that became a vow. So, not drinking alcohol. Apparently, at one point, monks and nuns did drink, and then they got silly drunk one day, and he said, well, that's it, no more drinking. Now, I had a student ask me about a friend who had taken a lifetime layperson vows and had a near beer because he thought it had no alcohol in it, because it said it was a non-alcoholic beverage. And it had alcohol, and he thought he'd lost his lifetime layperson vows. And he hadn't, because his intention in drinking that beer was that it tasted like beer, but it wasn't beer. So that his intention was to enjoy the taste, not the alcohol. So I suggested he do a good serious 4 powers of purification, and then make sure not to take anything that, when something said was non-alcoholic, just don't look at the label carefully or don't drink it. So his intention This is where intention or motivation comes into play. He wasn't drinking a near beer because he wanted to get hammered. He was drinking a near beer because he wanted the taste of beer. And back when I could taste things, the taste of a good cold beer, I drank beer back in the day, not because it had alcohol, but because it really, to me, tasted good. So, intention, novice monk, novice nun. So the more complicated vows, a greater list of vows covers many, many things for a monk that are archaic in their presence in this life. But it's the pratimoksha vows are a way to structure your life so that you make progress on your path. They're reminders of, well, how does it put it? What to take up and what to leave. No, there's a phrase. What's to take up and what not to take up. That's not quite right. But again, I don't see the monk's vows, the lifetime layperson vows as onerous or punishment. They're an observation of the things I need to do to make progress on my path. They're basically a recipe for thank you, what to take up and what to give up. Right. They're a recipe for your life to reach your goal of total enlightenment. And as Descartes, I think it was, or Poincaré, two French philosophers, one of them, I think it's Descartes, said, if God exists, then being responsible, a responsible Catholic, is a good thing because God exists and you're going to be in his favor. And if he doesn't exist, then acting in a way that's respectful for other people is a pretty good way to live. So if all of this is a bunch of hooey and it doesn't matter what I do, I prefer to be doing things to help other people than not. And so my monk's vows give me that recipe for analyzing situations and knowing what to do. So that's all I have for today. Any questions? This was sort of nebulous, but we're going to get into the vows next couple of classes. I teach again Thursday, then on Monday, I will be in Mexico for 10 or 15 days. And so I'll teach from there, same time. As far as I know, our hostess says she has good internet, so that'll be kind of fun to teach from another country. I don't think I'll be teaching in Spanish, however. Well, I know I won't be. Yes, Svetlana?
Thank you so much, Lama Sumati. Can I ask about one-day vows? If we take them after sunrise, for example, we take one-day vows after sunrise, then they will last for 24 hours. For example, I take them at 9 a.m. and then they last till 9 a.m. or do they last till sunrise of the next morning? Or should I not take them after sunrise? Thank you.
You shouldn't take them after sunrise. When you take the the one-day vows, first of all, you should be given the one-day vows by someone who has been initiated in the one-day vows. Then once you've been initiated, you can take them whenever you want. But they should be really the true one-day vows, you should take them before sunrise. And then after sunrise, or after you can see the lines on your hand, you're done. Now, if you took them at 10 a.m. and they lasted till 10 a.m. the next morning, I think you could argue it's the intent of taking the vows rather than the timing, but there's a reason to do them before sunrise and after you can see the lines in the palm of your hand, which isn't obvious to me, but Lord Buddha didn't do anything by chance. So it might have to do with the winds and channels and your spiritual aspects of your body that are particularly potent at that time. And I know the 4 times for Leirun have to do with certain aspects of your subtle body. Mike, you had a question? Oops, I guess he's signed off. Okay, let's dedicate today's class. O Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, please listen to what I now say. Just as all the previous Sugatas generated the mind of enlightenment and practice in accordance with Bodhisattva precepts, so shall I too, in order to benefit all that lives, give birth to bodhicitta and follow its precepts. May the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma taught by the Buddhas, always increase. Thank you for the opportunity to teach you this material. And I think as we delve further into the details of the vows, you'll find it interesting. And again, you should never think of these vows as onerous. They're here to help us reach enlightenment. And you can't beat that. Okay. Take care. We'll see you Thursday. Thank you, Olga, for translating. Thank you all for being in my life. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Спасибо.